culture shocks. At the end of the 19th century, industrialists found great pride in all they had accomplished. They saw new businesses, new products, and towering skyscrapers. They turned toward the future with confidence, but there were others who found the rapid change troubling. Did the innovations make people happier or give their lives more meaning? Could society be losing sight of what was important? What was the meaning of progress? Psychologists, writers, and philosophers responded by exploring an irrational side of human nature. Artists and musicians moved in all directions too. They broke the old rules, and what they created shocked traditional audiences. What you should be able to understand when you finish this lesson. Explain the goals and techniques of the Impressionist, Post-Impressionist, Cubist, and Abstract painters. Identify examples of Impressionist, Post-Impressionist, Cubist, and Abstract art and artists. Identify Freud and describe his accomplishments. Identify Zola and describe his naturalist beliefs. Recognize that while many people saw the 19th century as a time of great progress, others questioned materialism and human nature. Recognize the goals and characteristics of modernism in music. French hosting the World's Fair in 1889. When the French hosted the World's Fair in 1889, they were celebrating the 100th anniversary of the French Revolution. They were showcasing the progress that had taken place since the Revolution. Belle Epoque. Belle Epoque means beautiful time. Europe was powerful, prosperous, and at peace. It was enjoying all the advances in science, technology, education, and human rights that had occurred during the Scientific Revolution and the Industrial Revolution. Despite signs of prosperity during the Belle Epoque, some people expressed doubts. Philosophers, psychologists, and novelists wrote about an irrational and dark side of human nature. Artists questioned long-held assumptions about the relationship of art to reality. Some people wondered whether material progress really made people happier or life any more meaningful. Mental illness. Many people in the 19th century did not know what caused mental illness. Some speculated that it was caused by injury to the body or brain. Others thought that emotionally painful events caused it. Sigmund Freud. Freud was a physician who lived in Vienna, Austria. He believed that mental illness was caused by conflict between the conscious and the unconscious parts of the mind. We think and solve problems with our conscious mind. The unconscious is filled with powerful instincts and desires. Freud thought we were driven by powerful, irrational forces from the unconscious. Freud thought the struggle to repress those forces led to mental illness. Psychoanalysis is a process developed by Freud to understand the patient's unconscious desires. One way to unlock the unconscious mind is to analyze dreams. Naturalists. The naturalists were influenced by the ideas of Charles Darwin. They believed that human beings were shaped by their environment. Naturalist novelists depicted human life with the same objectivity that scientists use to observe nature. Émile Zola. He was a French novelist and one of the greatest naturalists. He wrote L'Assommoir. L'Assommoir tells the story of a young woman who works in a laundry. She marries a young worker who gets injured. Zola describes how poverty and life in the slum destroy the couple. Zola's naturalist novel shows how poor people living in slums are crushed by the hopelessness of their surroundings. Photography and artistic truth. Artists begin to wonder how they could compete with true-to-life photography. Many people who wanted a family portrait or a picture of a landscape began turning to photographers rather than to painters. Impressionist painters. Impressionists tried to show the changing effects of light, such as the shifting colors of the evening air or water. They created an impression of a fleeting moment of reality by using short brushstrokes and vivid dabs of color. Edgar Degas, Edouard Manet, Pierre-Augustin Renoir, Claude Monet, and Mary Cassatt were major Impressionist artists. Vincent van Gogh. Vincent van Gogh is considered a post-impressionist artist. He admired the Impressionists, but he had one criticism. He thought their method did not allow the artist to really express his emotions. This is just a chart of the Impressionists, Post-Impressionists, Cubists, and Abstract. So in the Impressionists, the famous artists were Degas, Manet, Monet, Renoir, and Cassatt. Their goals were to emphasize light and color to capture an impression of fleeting moment on reality, and their techniques were short brushstrokes with vivid color. Post-Impressionists, Vincent van Gogh, his goal was to continue to depict light and use bright colors and short brushstrokes, but emphasize emotions. Artist styles varied, and the techniques were expressive colors and brushstrokes. Cubist artists, famous, were Picasso and Braque. Their goals were to break down and imaginatively resemble objects. Thought art did not have to copy textures, colors, and shapes of real objects. The techniques were to eliminate the illusion of space, use geometric shapes, and to show subject from several angles. And then abstract was Kandinsky. The goal was to create art out of elements of art itself, such as line, color, shapes, light, and texture. And then the techniques were banish identifiable objects from artwork, stress color, shapes, and light. Famous artwork: Pablo Picasso, Vincent van Gogh, Wendy Kandinsky, and Pierre-Augustin Renoir. Music. The composer most associated with the beginning of modern music is Igor Stravinsky. His ballet, The Rite of Spring, shocked the music world when it premiered in 1913. How did modern music differ from traditional music? The instruments seemed to struggle with each other instead of harmonizing. The music did not have a melody or a predictable rhythm. It was composed of harsh and dissonant sounds. The end. Being entirely honest with oneself is a good exercise. Sigmund Freud.